Hello, so it's currently 1:30 in the morning, and I probably should have gone to bed a bit earlier because I've got to get up early because my deadline is tomorrow for art. So I finished my exam, which isn't actually technically finished. I could have done with another 10 hours, but it's okay. But both my sketchbooks are due in tomorrow and they're still not finished, so I think after I've made this video, I'm going to end up. I really probably shouldn't, but I might stay up and finish them, or I might just get up early and do it then, which is probably going to be a smarter idea. However, it's already 1:30. I don't have a lesson until 11 tomorrow, so if I go to college at 9, I can just do my sketchbooks for 2 hours. And I've got 2 hours after that, like through dinner, and then an hour. So I'll have like 4 hours to finish them, which probably isn't enough time, but yeah, I'll be alright. And I've technically got all afternoon as well because I've got art in the afternoon and it doesn't finish till 4:30, which is okay. I just had but I didn't have an argument. I saw a post on Facebook and I was like, okay, well I can formulate an argument for this, and I ended up writing like like a massive essay in the comment section about it. I don't know. This guy posted a meme on Facebook saying, "Being hard to swallow pills." It was one of those type of memes. Being a vegan doesn't make you special or a good person. So I was like, okay, let's be really pedantic and actually break this down. So I did, and yeah, it was a pretty good argument, I think. I used a little bit of Aristotle, like what does it actually mean to be a good person? Because I think Aristotle said that to be a good person you have to do good things, and he also said that to be a good person you also have to not contemplate or abstain from doing bad things. So, like, you can't have the thought and go backwards and forwards between what you should do. It's like, oh, I should steal the money, or I shouldn't steal the money, I shouldn't. You shouldn't do that. You should just know instantly that the good thing to do is not steal the money and not even consider taking the money. So I explored that a little bit. And then a question I asked, well, does it make you a good person to simply not do bad things? Well, initially I had to establish that it's bad to consume products which have been produced through the means of factory farming. And I gave a little explanation for that. And I was like, well, if you do bad things, are you a bad person? Assuming that causing unnecessary suffering to animals is a bad thing. And then if the answer is yes, to are you a bad person if you do bad things, then you're a bad person if you eat meat and dairy which has been produced in factory farming industry. I'm not talking about meat which is being produced free range, although I wouldn't personally eat that. But I was predicating my argument basically solely around the idea of factory farming because I think that's the worst sort of farming. Yeah, so I ended up arguing about that for a little bit, but I still haven't got a response because it's 1:30 and I just posted it on there. I forgot where I was going. I was talking through the argument, wasn't I? Okay, so does it make... Are you a good person for not doing bad things, for abstaining from doing bad things? So I'm assuming that eating animal products which has been produced in the factory farming industry makes you a bad person. So does doing otherwise, by not doing that, does that make you a good person? And I said, no, I'm not a good person for not going around and not raping people and not murdering people. Like, those are just morally axiomatic almost. It's like you don't get a reward for not doing those things. It's like you almost have to take it a step further and actually try and prevent those things from happening in the world. Like, so for example, perhaps if I was more of an activist for what I believe to be wrong and what actually does seem to be wrong, then I would be a good person. So I eventually concluded by saying that the meme was correct, that being vegan doesn't make you a good person. You have to actually go more, take a step further. But then I ended up picking up on another point that he'd put in the comments from a previous argument that had been going on, and he said, the guy who posted it said, well, if something requires willpower, then it can't be morally good, because if it's moral, then you won't need you won't need willpower not to do it. And I was like, well, that seems like a false assumption. For example, I gave him an example of an alcoholic. Being an alcoholic is morally reprehensible. It's wrong because it causes you to suffer. And it's like, yeah, okay, maybe that's bad. But then it's the fact that that suffering extends out to other people. Like when you're an alcoholic, you're most likely going to be a bit of an asshole to your family. Like a lot of violent crimes happen under alcohol, and a lot of abuse happens under the influence of alcohol due to alcoholism. So by you abstaining from alcoholism, that is a morally good thing to do, but that doesn't mean it's going to be easy to do that. So it's still going to require willpower, even though it's moral to quit drinking. And then based on that argument, I could actually derive another conclusion about the initial presupposition that being a vegan doesn't make you a good person. Because I initially said that abstaining from doing bad things doesn't make you a good person. But it's perhaps that there's actually that good and bad are interwoven together. So by not doing the bad thing, you're actually contributing to doing the good thing. So not being an alcoholic stops suffering. So by not doing something, you're actually actively doing something else, which is stopping suffering. So by not contributing to the factory farming industry and not eating meat, you're actually contributing to stopping suffering. You're allowing that to happen, or at least in part, you're not playing a part in the suffering which is occurring. So that is essentially a good thing. But then you can argue that it's even better, you would be an even better person if you actually went out and actively taught people and educated people about the fact that it's bad, that the factory farming industry is bad, or that certain things are bad in society. Like, that would make you even better. But it's like, I don't think you can, like, I do believe that if you're vegan, then that is morally superior. Now, does that make you a better person? I don't know, but it's undoubtedly morally superior to not do bad things. And I believe that it's a bad thing to do that. Just like, I guess it makes you morally superior. Like, you're morally superior to a rapist for not raping people. You're morally superior to a murderer for not murdering people. It's not like, it's not like a narcissistic thing, like, they think they're better. Because I don't see it like that. I don't feel consciously better than other people. I don't even feel subconsciously better than other people. I'm just saying that the actions that I take are in relation to my food choices and my lifestyle choices in the context of veganism are better than that of someone who doesn't take those actions. And it's like, well, there's probably people out there who are exceeding morally in other areas of life that I am not. But this is the moral axiom that I've chose to base my life around, veganism, or at least that's one of them, and that's one that I'm actually able to confidently establish as true, which isn't the case for a lot of things in my life, because I don't know, I made a video yesterday saying that I actually struggle to establish truth in my life, and I struggle to find truth, and it's easy for me to fall into moral relativism. But this is one thing that is part of my life that I do feel like I can establish some truth about. So why would I go out and look for other things that I can establish for true or false, when I can just focus on the things that I've managed to establish as true or false? And that doesn't mean I shouldn't go out and establish other things as true and false, and perhaps research other things, but I'm only human. I can't know everything. I can't go out there and have an opinion on every single thing. Like, it's just not practical. No one can do that. You sort of have to pick an area, focus on it, and then let that be your area. Just get good in that specific area. And it's the same it's the same in relation to occupations. Like if you're going to get a job, you don't go to university, become an expert in everything, and then get a job in everything. You choose one area, and then you become a master of that area. So why would we assume that it's different for other areas of life? Maybe other areas of life you've got a little bit more leeway, but perhaps it's better to be really good at one thing than okay at other things. I can hear my sister sleep talking. Right, I'm probably gonna go now anyway. That's basically what happened. Yeah, right. Thanks for watching.